Today's show is supported by Liberty Magic, Pittsburgh's premier speakeasy theater dedicated to the art of elevating magic. This time they are presenting David Williamson in Ridiculous, a family-friendly show where magic and comedy collide. David's signature magic is filled with jaw-dropping illusions and a very distinct sense of humor. Yes, he is a magician, but he's also been called a clown and even an anarchist. So get ready for a show with a lot of laughter. Ridiculous runs from April 2nd to May 3rd. Get your tickets at trustarts.org/magic before they disappear. This is CityCast Pittsburgh. I'm Megan Harris, and here's what Pittsburgh's talking about. Hi, Yins. Today is a special day. It's Local News Day, which is a national day of action. So hopefully to help you feel connected to local journalism outlets in your area, obviously we hope CityCast Pittsburgh has become like a need-to-know place for you. I'm here today with podcast producer Sophia Lowe.
Yes, I am so excited about Local News Day. Like, CityCast Pittsburgh helped me navigate the city a lot when I first moved here. And now I am super excited to be a part of it and share conversations about, what is happening locally, our neighborhoods, our schools, our government, all the people, places, and decisions that really shape how we interact with each other and how we, live in Pittsburgh.
Like, for example, recently on the show, we've talked about the city and the county's attempts to ban cooperation with ICE, the complications with that, the way it genuinely impacts your neighbors, and also how Pittsburgh is preparing for the NFL draft. Talk about complicated, and even the basic stuff like how to get a pothole filled in your neighborhood. You don't have to drive over it. You don't have to try to swerve on your bicycle. You can actually do something about that and make sure the city does it for you.
Yes, 311 is here to help you.
And so are we.
Yeah, but we also need your help because it takes support from our listeners, our readers, everyone in our neighborhoods for us to make this podcast and newsletter every single day. And, in celebration of Local News Day, I really can't think of a better time to become a CityCast Pittsburgh neighbor.
So in honor of Local News Day, if you wanted to support us, show the four of us, our tiny, scrappy team, that you are there, you are listening, and you want us to continue to exist and try to talk about and explain all these big, hard topics, please consider becoming a member of CityCast Pittsburgh. It really is the best way to show the folks in charge here at CityCast that you want this Pittsburgh group to continue to be here, to keep doing the thing, making podcasts and newsletters that you love.
And you can sign up at membership.citycast.fm/Pittsburgh. And you get a bunch of perks with becoming a neighbor, joining our membership program. So one of the best things you get is invites to exclusive members-only events. So you can hang out with us and your fellow neighbors in an intimate setting. We do a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff, too. We've done tours of the kitchen space at Fulton Commons. We've done tours of Icy Distilling. So it's a great way to get access to things that are not so easy to get access to.
Yes. And you also get ad-free listening. So if you're a podcast listener, I assume you are, if you're here, then you can hear that without the ads. You don't have to hear us talking about things on the extras.
Plus, for our 412 Day event happening on,
April 12th.
Yes, exactly. Members get special merch, and I think it's timely fine to reveal it's a cute hat with a parking chair on it. So, keeping to our theme of staying local.
Yes, a dad hat. It's black. It's cute. It's got the logo. It's also, I just love the chair. I love a little embroidered moment,
Totally. And Megan made it. Megan's got a great design eye. So it really is something also made with lots of love.
Truly, if it stinks, then I am open and very receptive to critical feedback. Yins, let me know. That's a perk of being a member, is I will respond to every single message in the inbox. It's usually me. It's occasionally one of the team. We really, really genuinely care about getting stuff right and finding out how we can improve what we talk about and what we do. Plus, you also get to give shout outs in the podcast and the newsletter. I always love to hear what y'all recommend. And there's no limit to how many of those you can give.
Yeah, whether it's constructive criticism or something you really love about the city, we really think that better neighbors make better cities. We want the feedback in all sorts of forms. Mm-hmm. So Become a neighbor today at membership.citycast.fm/Pittsburgh.
And happy local news day. On to the show. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Depends.
Sardines, olives.
Anchovies, sardines, more of a
Fish,
pizza.
Tinned fish, yes or no?
Depends on the fish.
You can't say a yes or no about pizza.
I can't say no because it depends. So like,
Is
let's
barbe-
take pineapple. Let's
Okay.
take pineapple.
Fine.
So classic Domino's style, like Hawaiian pizza, awful, terrible.
I couldn't tell which way you were going to
Terrible.
fall.
However, fruit on pizza in a certain way, and pineapple is a great example of this. Like I've done this at home and I've had this at other places. You get a real pineapple.
As opposed to a canned one?
as opposed to like a chunky canned one that's like full of like liquid, right? Because
But that is real food.
sure, sorry, Pineapple Incorporated canned. You get a whole pineapple, or you can get pineapple slices if you don't want to do it, but like not in the can.
Fresh.
Slice it. You can season it a little bit. Oven. Dehydrate it a little bit because like you don't want to mess
juice
up
on the
like
pizza,
the ratio of the pizza and the water balance and everything like that. Pair that with something spicy or something smoky, and maybe like a red pepper sauce instead of a tomato sauce, and it is fantastic.
Okay. I am with one of Pittsburgh's biggest pizza nerds.
Fact.
Hal B. Klein, dining critic for the Post-Gazette, CityCast Pittsburgh contributor, and you are hot on the heels of your semi-annual romp through Pittsburgh pizza, the trends, the enormous pizza expo that they have in Las Vegas where so many Pittsburghers compete. We wanted to talk to you about what's happening on the scene. If we've learned anything from CityCast Pittsburgh listeners, Hal, it's that they love a pizza episode. Like y'all dig in every time.
Yeah. Everyone loves a pizza episode. I love listening to Dan when he's on here. I'm
Dan
envious that
Tellerico.
he has made an entire pizza musical. I would like to see that.
It was his
Dan.
birthday, I think.
Yeah.
And you recently crowned Pittsburgh's 13 best pies. And this is a thing that I know you've been doing for a while. But you make the claim that we, Western Pennsylvania, have become a powerhouse for pizza. But you did not used to say that. So I'm curious, like broadly, what's different? What's better?
Yeah. And I would say we're a rising powerhouse for pizza, not just like a straight up powerhouse. Like I'm not saying we are New York or Portland, Oregon, or places, or New Haven.
And you're from that part of the world, which is why you're very picky about this.
Yeah, I have a favorite pizza place way out in Queens in New York that, say I'm flying, taking a vacation, and I'm flying to London, and my flight goes from JFK, but I have to fly from Pittsburgh to New York. I would maybe fly to LaGuardia just so I could go to this place. And then
enough that
because I had a long enough layover, I was like,
during the layover, you go get the pizza. So high standards.
Yeah.
But we're a rising powerhouse. Like those are big words for somebody like you.
Yeah, it's a fact too.
What's changed?
You know, I think first of all, it's in line with what is a national trend right now, which is just, we've talked about this before. Like we've joked about this when I said like, what's new for like in our 2026 preview. And I'm like, what's coming up? And I'm like, pizza. And you're like, you said that last year. And I'm like, yeah, because there's like always, it's like there's an ease of communication now in pizza that makes it so that people who are curious to learn can do it in a way that generally works. So like a combination of through YouTube, through like chat groups, and like what's cool about Pittsburgh is there are all these Pittsburgh pizza makers and they all chat with each other.
And to be clear, you're not talking about us, the people who buy the pizza. You mean the people who want to learn how to make it at an elite level.
Yeah. And who are making it now that want to get better and better and better. So I was actually at Badamo's yesterday.
On the north side. And they have another location.
In Dormont. Yeah. And Anthony Badamo was like, we were talking about this and he's like, it's weird because like, 5, 10, 15 years ago, you would never tell someone like what kind of tomatoes you used or, like the ratio of your cheese blend was. And now it's like,
it was all secretive.
Yeah. And it was like, and now he's like, who cares? Like, it doesn't matter because everyone's hands are different. So like, why not help someone out if they have a question? And you're starting to see in a similar way to what happened with like really great restaurants and like sous chefs or line cooks working in different kitchens. You're now starting to see that in pizzerias in Pittsburgh, where people are like moving around.
And they want to learn a little bit from this kitchen. They want to learn a little bit from that one.
And because like we don't have a like signature style in Pittsburgh. I think there's a freedom to do whatever you want in whatever style. So like Ohio Valley style is like a style that's of this region, but it's not necessarily the signature style, and it's more like westward.
You really can get like almost any style of pizza. Like you can have something with like that super thin, crispy crust. You can have the tray pizzas. You can have like something that's more on the order of like a Detroit or a deep dish. The cold cheese is a thing. Like there's a lot to try around here. And I mean, I think you've been a huge champion for the New York style slice for a long time. And it sounds like you're happier now than you once were.
Yeah. And I think that's, like that's my pizza of my childhood, and like nostalgia is such a big thing. And so like, I think there's, people will say like, oh, the Pittsburgh style, but that's really the places like Aiello's, Minio's, Fiore's. That's more of like an American oven style that there are like maybe some minutia, like here the sauce is a little bit sweeter than it might be in a different city. But like those, like that nostalgia is like a very valid thing. And so for me, like I just like was lucky to have been born in New York where
your nostalgia was
great
different.
Pizza.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's like, pizza's always evolving. So I don't think we have to say like, like, oh, you have to be New York's pizza to be a great pizza. Like that's not true at all.
I did think it was funny that you saved space for like nostalgic picks without actually making any of them part of your top 13. There's the Squirrel Hill Giants, of course, but like Fiore's, Piccolo Forno, Spack, things like that like people love.
Yeah.
And will fight you over. But they're not part of your 13, not this time.
No, they'll fight me over them in the comments. But no, and it's like it's not disrespecting any of those places, right? Like I mean, I love Piccolo Forno, and I think Spack, like the coolness of Spack and Spack's like ability to reach such a wide audience, like affordable, it's welcoming, it's cool. And like that is so important for a city, and like people need that kind of pizza too.
And they'll do goofy stuff. Like they'll do a pickle pizza that it's very divisive, but most of my friends love it. Their ranch is considered like the best in the city by a lot of people. They've like leaned into things. They tried donuts for a while. And I mean, I think that kind of like lends itself to becoming like a neighborhood establishment. I guess I'm curious how Pittsburgh and whatever styles we're into at that time stacks up against like national trends, like the camaraderie piece, for example. Is that normal now, like everywhere?
Like ish. So like going to Pizza Expo, which I just got back from. So there's like 14,000 people that go there, and it's wild because it is an industry trade show on the convention floor. And then there's like educational seminars upstairs. Then there's this whole competition aspect that's divided into two different branches. One of them is culinary, and one of them is like, I call it I call it like the flair bartending of the pizza world.
Yeah.
And it's like, that stuff is like wildly entertaining, but it has more to do with like the performance aspect and fun, and like to a certain icky degree capitalism, with like fastest box folding.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
I don't think it's like overtly capitalistic, but I'm like,
no, you're right. You're
like, it's weird to like, just like, do it like that, whereas like the pizza acrobatics is like just literally fun. It's great.
Yeah.
And Pittsburgh wins every year. Or it's won like a bunch of years. Yeah.
And we have a lot of people that go to them. I think you reported for the Post-Gazette that it's like not the record number that we had in 2024. Am I remembering that right? But still a lot of people competing in different layers.
Yeah. When I went 2 years ago, it was like 65 or something, which just like blew me away. I remember when I first pitched that one to my editors, and I was like, I think something like 30 people are going. And it was like every time I looked, I'm like, wait, holy cow. And they're like, this person's here and this person's here. And it was
I feel
the
like
same.
Pittsburgh's always the small town like thing where you like constantly run into people you didn't know were going to be at a place.
Yeah.
That's
it's like,
probably next level.
No, like truly though, like walking around, even this year, like walking around the expo floor, and it's like you run into, you're like, oh wait, you're like, holy cow. And I talked to a couple people who were involved in Pizza Expo and who run more national stuff. And I'm like, I asked that question, like, is it normal for this many people from a city of our size? And they're like, no, not at all. And you all seem to like hang out with each other too the whole time.
I always wonder, is that unique? Because I mean, I feel like we all viscerally feel a lot of the friendliness sometimes when we live here. If you have a good experience in Pittsburgh, at least often it's the friendliness that like stands out. And it sounds like maybe that's true in this pizza space as well.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine we're not the only city in the country that's like this, but I think something that I've noticed in reporting about food and drink in Pittsburgh for, 15 years now is people love sending you to other places. And that's kind of amazing, right?
Yeah.
And people hang out and people want everyone to be better. And I think that's something that really is part of this city that makes it special. And I think, related to pizza, it's really what's been helping the whole industry thrive here in that way.
Today's episode is supported by Clearview Federal Credit Union. I actually just made a new bank account with Clearview, and the process was so easy. I set up an online appointment, and in just 30 minutes, everything got sorted. But banking can get confusing, and sometimes it's just easier to ask your questions in person. So I was really happy to hear that Clearview Federal Credit Union has new spots open, one in the Strip District and another downtown right by Market Square. They've got 23 financial centers all over the area, and you can pop into one to learn more about their 412 offer, where you can get $412 when you open their Absolute checking account and meet deposit requirements. Plus, you can tap into their free financial counseling services to meet all your financial goals. Learn more about Clearview at clearviewfcu.org/412.
Today's show is brought to you by City Theater and their production of Hedwig and the Angry Inch. This Tony Award-winning musical follows the life, loves, and heartbreaks of the legendary Hedwig, an East German rock and roll goddess. I have been meaning to see this musical forever. I know it's got a huge cult following, but the last time City Theater put on the show was in 2003. So I am very thrilled they're reviving it. It's exciting for people like me who get to check it out for the very first time, and all the so-called heads out there who will now get a chance to re-experience the show right here in Pittsburgh. Hedwig and the Angry Inch is running from May 12th to June 7th at the Greer Cabaret downtown, and it's being presented in partnership with the Pittsburgh Cultural Trust. You do not want to miss this beloved, fierce, and energetic show. Tickets available at citytheatercompany.org.
Today's show is brought to you by Window Nation. They're running their The More You Buy, The More You Save sale, where you could save up to 50% off on all the windows for your home and get 0% interest financing for 5 years. Pittsburgh's got some old homes, and if yours has windows that are broken or leak or are stuck shut, now is the time to consider an upgrade. I love cracking open my bedroom windows and napping when there is a light cross breeze, and you're also going to want to head into spring and summer with windows that are nice and easy to open. You can choose from over 1,500 styles and colors, and once your appointment is scheduled, Window Nation's team finishes the installation in just under 1 day. They also do their due diligence and measure 3 times to make sure your windows are the perfect fit. The windows are energy efficient and also come with a lifetime warranty. And hurry, the sale ends soon. Schedule a fast, free consultation now at windownation.com.
Well, some of the specific stuff that you talked about really evolving and helping Pittsburgh get itself on the map was like specific technology, like a modern electric oven and digital connectivity. Like, I think it's so interesting that like you can point to like specific devices and be like, no, this is part of why we're able to be as good as we are.
Yeah, it's interesting. So the first wave of pizza in the United States in like the end of the 1940s and primarily 1950s was really driven by a couple companies in New York making these gas-powered ovens, and sending their salespeople out across the country and teaching people how to make pizza. And it caught on. It went from, pizza being mentioned in a local newspaper. So here, I think it was 1948-ish, the first time pizza was mentioned in a newspaper.
Wait, in Pittsburgh?
In Wheeling, West Virginia was the most local one. And there maybe were like a couple places advertising pizza before that. But it was like...
I don't think of it as being like such a recent invention.
It kind of is, though.
Yeah.
And it was like, and mentioned to the point where it was like, this new thing called pizza, and then in italics, like Pete -za.
No way.
Like pronunciation, and then describing what it is. Like the West Virginia one calls it like the poor man's cheesesteak. Which
rude.
is like such a weird, yeah. So, but it goes from this thing that's like a very like what, used to be called like an ethnic food into this like mass explosion within like 10 or 15 years. And it's driven in large part because of this technology of this new oven and the people that are doing it. And now we're seeing that with these gas ovens or these electric ovens, which have a lower overhead. You don't need the same hood system to do it. You can dial in specific temperatures for like the floor and the ceiling of each.
Like within the oven.
Yeah, within the oven. So you can, and then you can do that. So then you can, if you have like 3 decks, you could do 3 different styles of pizza if you want, or you could do a pizza where you're like first baking it here and then like finishing it in like another and another deck. And so you could be a lot more precise. I mean, even stuff like being able to like keep data on like what the ambient room temperature is a lot easier now.
Man, pizza making is some 3D chess.
It's wild. It's a cool combination of like science and art, right? At the same time, you still have these great traditions of pizza makers.
Like wood-fired.
Yeah, like wood-fired pizza and people who can feel it with their hands and are like, I don't need a scale. And so like, it's like best of both at this point.
Yeah.
Which is kind of, it's truly amazing.
And it seems like you've got, I humbly say, a solid mix of that represented in your top 13. So walk us through your favorites and what was your criteria? How did you narrow it down to, we have so many pizza places in Pittsburgh. How did you get to this?
So like, obviously like the ones in there are all my favorites.
Yeah, it is subjectively your favorite.
Yes.
But how did you go about doing that with whatever rubric is in your brain?
Yeah. So the first thing I did was just go back to my list from a couple years ago.
Okay.
And looking at like how those places have changed, what what should stay on, what might move off.
Okay, so we start with the old
new.
list. What about like, I mean, do you have like a checklist? Do you like go through things in your head? Is it dough? Is it sauce? Is it flavor profile? Is it heat? I know reheating was an important part of your list, which we will get to.
Yeah, that was like, so the reheat was like not like make or break for anyone.
No, but I love it. It's like an important part of pizza.
But it's an important part of pizza.
Almost all of us over order and then it ends up in the fridge. So it is useful to know which one is great for right now and which one is great for later. Don't tell me the winner. Let's go through some of the favorites first. But like, did you have a checklist?
Yeah. So, I mean, I look at like dough structure, of course. That's the base of all good pizza. And then balance.
As if everyone knows that.
Can't have good pizza without good dough.
Balance.
And some of that was literally like, is the dough seasoned properly? I don't think people think about, getting like the right amount of salinity into the dough, but it makes a huge difference.
Look, I was not paying any attention to that, everything you just said, until producer Sophia had us do a bagel taste test. And now I am suddenly thinking about dough structure and whether things have flavor. So once again, props to your part of the world.
The people,
the New Yorkers, the New Yorkers,
we need,
New Jersey,
we know salinity.
New Jerseyans, New Jersey folks.
Yeah.
Y'all got thoughts and you're right. Okay, continue.
And then it's about balance. And that really comes down to like different styles, right? So different styles are going to like take different levels of balance. Like if you look at a place like Driftwood Oven, which is a baker style pizza, which has incredible dough, but they're also bold in like seasonal choices. It's one of those places I'm like generally I love, like if you can make a great cheese pizza like that touches my heart. And I don't need more than that, but I enjoy more than that if you can do it right. And that's hard sometimes. And Driftwood Oven, like the peach and corn pizza, for example, in the summer is something to look forward to. And it's something to look forward to because they get that balance right of all the different toppings on it. So looking at that and then looking at consistency of how the pizza is baked. And that was important this year in a way that like I didn't think was as important the last time I did it. But that definitely played a factor in places that made the list and didn't make the list.
Okay. That's enough suspense. We'll put folks out of their misery. And we don't have to talk about all 13 because I want folks to check out your article. But like, list out a few. What did you love and why did you love them?
Rockaway Pizza, of course. And the thing, like I've always loved Rockaway Pizza.
Regent Square. Fairly new because they were closed for a minute while they got the Regent Square place open.
Right. But out in White Oak for a bunch of years.
Yeah.
Like that pizza just like his New York style just like really has always excited me. But since moving to Regent Square, he's become so good at all these different styles of East Coast pizza and seeing that evolution and that like incredible creativity, like not even creativity, but just like desire to learn and grow. Like it's exciting to the point that now I go and I'm like, oh man, like I don't even know what I want to get, you know?
You used probably the most colorful language, I thought, of your entire piece when talking about Rockaway. Like their march toward pizza nirvana, an equilibrium of salty, sweet, cardboard in a good way, tart and savory with a prototypical modernist NYC dough build. Hell.
You know? I think about pizza a lot.
I'm just
I don't know
saying,
what to say about that.
your affection for
Yeah,
Rockaway was
it's great.
Actually palpable in your writing about it. What else did you love?
It's incredible. So one of the rising star places is Common Oven Pizza out in New Kensington. When I went there a couple years ago when I was first doing a best pizza list, and I could tell that like there was some good stuff brewing, but it wasn't quite there yet. And then going there this time and seeing, again, beginning with good dough, like the fermentation process, like the balance of cheese on there, I was like, wow, this guy has like really evolved into something special. So I thought that was really cool. Some classics, Mercurio's in the Neapolitan pizza category. Like
they have a Shady Side and an O'Hara.
Yeah, and like
location.
super consistent, like just a great classic Neapolitan pizza. And then Il Pizziolo. Which
That's the Mount Lebanon location only. Because that's where the founder of the brand started. He expanded. He's pulled back.
Right. So he started there. He was started in, I think, 1996. So he was doing artisanal pizzas before not even just people in Pittsburgh were doing it, but like most of the country outside of a couple of cities was doing it. And his pizzas have always been incredible, but like overexpanded, like too much going on. It got messy. And in the last couple of years has like pulled back, is just back in the original location. And that's the kind of pizza like you want to hear about, like balance between the salinity, the tartness of the sauce, the creaminess of the cheese, the char of the oven. Like that pizza like hits that balance in a way that you will understand what I'm talking about when I keep saying balance and balance and balance. And you're like, dude, stop it.
I learned
But you'll get that if you go there.
You also have a grocery store sleeper.
Yeah. There's a place called Rocco's Slice House out in Greensburg, inside a Shop and Save. Not like next to a Shop and Save, not like inside as in you walk into the place where the grocery carts are and you turn left to go to the Shop and Save and right to go to the pizza shop. You go into the Shop and Save, and it used to be where the pharmacy was there. And Sky Rocco and his business partner, Josh, like Rocco still owns, just celebrated 20 years of like a much more classic general American pizza shop. He and his friend got like really into making New York pizzas. And man, like that one especially, that one is the one that reminds me most of like, this is like the prototypical New York slice.
Yeah.
It still has like a little bit, like everyone's like, oh, no flop. And I think that's like a weird trend that is actually just like, it's code for like, we ferment our dough and like we care about it. But like New York pizza traditionally has like a little bit of flop at the tip, and that's like fine because it like sort of folds over and you get like a great little bite of all of it. And he's still making that pizza in a more old school way than some of the contemporary like New York pizza places are.
And then there's an old school one too. You dubbed it the Icon out in Ambridge.
Yeah, Pizza House, aka Police Station Pizza. So this was one of the original Ohio Valley style pizza places. Started a couple years after DeCarlo's, which was the original Ohio Valley style pizza. And, you know, this is the one that people talk about when they're like, oh, they put these raw toppings or cold toppings on top of the pizza. And which is like not quite accurate. It's usually room temperature toppings unless it's like something that should be refrigerated, like pepperoni or sausage. And like, honestly, like don't get pepperoni on these pizzas. Like pepperoni is meant to be like heated again in the oven.
Yeah.
But what they do, and this one, like it's a little bit of a twist. So they par bake the dough, then they top it with sauce, and they do put a little bit of cheese on it, put it in the oven, cook it. And then they give you sometimes they'll even heat it like a third time once you get the cuts. And then they'll put on, if you ask for extra cheese, they'll put on room temperature cheese on top of it. And I like to close the box, let it steam for a couple minutes so it gets into this liminal state. But I think it's brilliant because the crust is like so light and airy. It's like a crunch that you could hear from down the block when you eat into it. The sauce is tart. And then like that cheese, the way it melts is like almost like sweet with like a little bit of tanginess to it. And I just think it's a beautiful representation of the pizza that is like most closely associated with what was like created in Steubenville, Ohio, and really like took to prominence in Western Pennsylvania, that part of Eastern Ohio, and that northern part of West Virginia.
Cool. Well, we promised that we would talk about which ones were the best to reheat. Which one was your favorite? What holds? I personally am not a cold pizza person. So extra points for me specifically if it's one that like can be reheated, not just eaten cold directly out of the fridge.
Yeah. So I also like, you can also leave a pizza on the counter for a while if you don't have any toppings on it that will spoil. So like cheese pizza, leave it and just eat at room temperature. I love that. I think Slice House, F&F, Rockaway, those ones are great to just like leave on the counter. Those also reheat really well. And then Pizza Lupo reheats like a dream. That one is great. And they have like big pies too. And you probably want to get 2 of them because it's so good. So
I mean, that's the thing. I feel like all of us overorder. So you got to know anything from our pizza scene as you see it right now that you would like to see next, or maybe something you like encountered in Vegas that you're like, oh, we should import that. We need that here.
I mean, everyone was talking about tavern style pizza in Vegas.
What is tavern style?
So tavern style pizza, there are a couple different sub-geographies of tavern style pizza, but people were basically talking about Chicago, Milwaukee style bar pizza. So thin, crispy. They tend to be cut into like squares almost.
You're using the like pizza cutter that's like, I don't know, like a foot and a half long. That rocks like a seesaw.
Yeah.
There's hand motions happening here.
And the idea for that is like, it's a little bit, it's lighter. It's a thing you can just go out, like if you're going for beers and you just want to snack with some friends, and you can have that. It's like thin and crispy. I didn't really put this together until now. But the kind of Joyo's Velazzi, like, I'm not quite ready to declare a Westmoreland County style pizza, but I think I almost am. It's that sort of thinness, but not sweet like those.
Okay.
Way more savory.
Okay. Well, all you pizzolos out there, there's your challenge for Hal B. Klein in 2026. Hal, thank you as always.
Always a pleasure, especially to talk about pizza. That's the Pizza Police.
That's all for today here on CityCast Pittsburgh. You can find a link in our show notes to Hal's full list of the 13 best pizzas here in Pittsburgh right now. We'll be back tomorrow with more news from around the city. Talk to you soon.
Fun anecdote. I had a aortic valve replacement a couple years ago. And in the ICU recovery room, I apparently found out that one of the nurses, the night that I woke up from this, was from White Oak and talked about Rockaway Pizza. It's like the only thing, like I don't remember, there was apparently another person in the room, sent a text to the owner that was somehow coherent, even though I was full of like post-surgery, like
I feel like your friends failed you in this moment to take away your phone.
Probably.